Italy. Home of art, architecture, world-renowned food, and some of the best-known sports car brands on the planet. Here is where the old Roman Empire started, but also the Renaissance, which originated in the Tuscan region. And it's here in Tuscany where we are for the Hankook 12-hour endurance series at Mugello. Mugello is the official test track for Ferrari, also holds MotoGP races and car races. However, until last year it didn't have an endurance race. That all changed when Creventic brought the Hankook 24-hour series here. Now in its second year, the grid has grown to over 70 cars and about the maximum capacity for the track. The teams and drivers come from all over the world, and all have come to Mugello to put man and machine to the test.
We just arrived at the Mugello circuit and well, it's a lovely circuit, beautiful in the rolling hills of Tuscany. So we're ready to start.
I love the Mugello. It's very, very beautiful circuit. It is a dream to drive in the Mugello.
We are in Italy at Mugello circuit. The circuit is fantastic. Good race.
This is Mugello circuit. That is a very nice circuit for us. The first time for all the team, for the car, the drivers, and we are quite happy to be here. It's a very typical circuit from MotoGP. Everybody knows it from MotoGP. Very nice circuit with a very fast straight where you reach a very high top speed at the end, and it's a very funny circuit. And also the building, the boxes, everything is nice, very nice.
It's a fantastic place. I wish I'd come before. I think it's closer to Donington for what we find in the UK, but I think here it's a very, very fast and flowing circuit. There's no real hairpins anywhere. It's just a really, really nice. It's good when you've got a good lap here. You know you've done it.
The Hankook 24-hour series is organised by Creventic and the DNRT. In 2015, they were awarded official FIA status. Drivers now score championship points across the 6 rounds, and at the end of the series, we have a winner. Crucial then that all 6 events should be raced and officiated on identically. That means the clerk of the course has to standardise race procedures with every circuit that is visited.
The people in Mugello is another country, so they do the work on another way. We try to do all the events on the same way. So sometimes we have to give some steering at the officials. Mugello is sometimes a problem because of the language. My Italian is not so good, but they listen very good. Yeah.
Qualification on Friday is only a couple of hours before the start of the first part of the endurance race. Sadly, not all cars got into qualifying. Joseph Pereira crashing his car in the third free practice into the wall at high speed.
Someone touched him on the rear and he impacted directly and crashed directly to the wall. He had these 2 bonnets broken and then also the leg broken as well, and some pain on all the body because the impact in the wall was around 120 kilometers per hour, so it was just straight to the wall. In fact, when we saw the car at the beginning, we thought that it was much worse for the driver because it was such a big impact and everything moved to the rear, so there is no engine. The engine is collapsed because of the crash. But then we speak with the driver and he was okay, so that means that the car is really, really good and really safe. And we expect that he will go back to Barcelona tomorrow.
Well, that's a real testament to the safety of the cars. Let's take a look at the results of qualifying. And the long code 60 at the end of the session meant that there were just 3 minutes before the checkered flag came out.
Yeah, we were kind of a couple of seconds ahead for most of the session, so I was pleased that Optimum was still a couple of tenths behind at the end. They backed off during the code 60 and then got kind of a full clear lap with no traffic at the end, so it was quite tight. I mean, we're only a couple of tenths away. It's actually, I mean, there are a few places back, but still, so no, it was a really good result. Really pleased with the team. Car handled fantastically, and it's it's a nice kind of psychological victory anyway.
I came here knowing the circuit, which was definitely an advantage. I was personally gutted and my ego was dented quite hard when we lost pole on the last lap in qualifying there, but we're at the right end of the grid and there's 12 hours of racing, so we should be good from here.
In the qualifying I thought it's not so good to be in the code 60 and there's only 3 minutes to go, but luckily the track was clear and my lap was not a perfect lap. I catched up some traffic, but with 70 cars on the track, it's not so easy to manage a good lap time.
It's Friday the 13th of March and we're getting ready to start the race. Hundreds of drivers representing 25 countries all here to race. At 17 years old, Huub de Loche is one of the youngest.
This is my second endurance race together with Cor, and driving the Evora, I'm 17 years old. Most young drivers want to go Formula cars, but I decided to do GT, and Cor noticed me and he asked me if I want to do some endurance racing, and that's how I got into endurance racing. Sprint racing is just a 50-minute race and it's all or nothing. That's the main difference. Endurance racing is a stint of 2 hours. You got to be really consistent, and that's the big difference. Consistency is so important.
There's over 70 cars out on track for the Hankook 12 Hours of Mugello. In order to have a balanced competition, they're split into 9 different classes based on engine size and type of car. At the front of the field, the A6 class, GT3, split into pro and amateur. Now, even if you're in one of the other classes and you might not be out for overall victory, surely you're looking for a series class win. That means you take home one of the special champions watches made by sponsor BRM.
I want P1 of the class, and now we try to have a good position in overall, but we have a very fast car in front of me, and now we go see. It's a race. It's possible to have many problems, many accidents, many mechanical problems.
Francesco Pastorelli, very clear why he wants to start the race.
Well, it's the first 3 laps is the easiest one because there's no traffic at all, a lot of slower cars, so we have to overtake. But after that, you have to there's a lot of traffic, a lot of slower cars, a lot of gentleman drivers with doesn't use the mirrors always. So, but it is good to be in the first stint.
The 12 Hours of Mugello is part of the Hankook 24-hour series organised by Creventic.
We have a lot of teams, so I think there will be a lot of excitement. It will be very busy. Teams and drivers, everybody has a lot of adrenaline, and well, we're all ready. So I think it will be very busy, but very exciting.
So the 12 Hours of Mugello is underway, starting with a couple of warm-up laps behind the safety car. On pole, the Ferrari number 66 from Black Pearl Racing by Rinaldi, a brand new car to the team. They picked it up just last Wednesday. The number 4 Scuderia Praha Ferrari is on the outside of the front row, and with their results in previous Hankook endurance races, they have to be considered a favourite. Ram Racing number 30 Mercedes is in 3rd position. Our clerk of the course, Paul Beck, can be seen next to the track.
Yeah, the start of the race is also difficult to keep the field together. And if we get too great gaps, it's too long to start the race. It's too slow at the top of the field. We do our hands and we do like this to close the gaps. And they go on the throttle and close the gaps.
Nearly at the end of the 2 warm-up laps, the front row very close together, less than a couple of centimetres between them. The Mugello circuit, officially the Autodromo Internazionale de Mugello, 5¼ kilometres or 3¼ miles around. You'd think that was enough space to get all of these cars on it, but here at the start you get a great feel for just how big this entry is. Pole sitter almost crossing the starting line, but the tail of the field hasn't even come out of the last corner. At the green, Pierre Caffer gets his foot down early, surprising the second place Ferrari. He's ahead of them before he's even crossed the start line. The Porsche 997 number 7 from HB Racing Team Herberth from 4th position, Matteo Malicelli in the number 4 Ferrari, and the 30 Ram Racing Mercedes with Tom Onslow Cole on board, all disputing second place. These strong fights for positions aren't limited to the front of the field. Every class is battling away.
The start was quite okay. I was quite conservative because I want to avoid any kind of crash. So the pace at the beginning was very good, but avoiding any possible mistake. It paid because other people pushed more, but they went out or they hit the car.
There's 16 entries in the Porsche class for 991 and 997 Cup cars, and that's the biggest class here at Mugello. The F5 touring car class is mainly a battleground for BMWs, including the Austrians Dulles Motorsport. Now, they won the first 2 24-hour races in Dubai and are making a comeback in this Creventic event after an absence of a few years. At the front of the field, the battle is in the A6 category with GT3 specification cars from BMW, Ferrari, Mercedes-Benz and Porsche. With 7 cars in this category, the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG GT3 is the most popular machine in the top class.
I had a really good start, so after the first corner I was on second behind the Ferrari of Kaffa. And then we had a good pace, so Kaffa and me, we had a gap of 60 seconds in front of the third place. So it was a really good stint for me, and then the other stints were also good, so really happy for the first day.
Here's the Hughes-sponsored 169 Ginetta. This is the Speedworks motorsport car, and sadly it's the first to have to pit for repairs.
We had a bit of a bad start, unfortunately. The solenoid went on the gearbox, which meant we couldn't get the gears, and that was on the first lap. So that lost us about 43 minutes, so that was a really bad start.
Not the only Ginetta from the SP3 class that's in trouble. The 162 Austrian Niederscheider Motorsport team also in the pit lane. Press and public alike watching the battles in this first stint.
I did a lot of endurance racing, so I like that. The first stint is the best because you have to fight very close with the other same class other cars, and I did a good stint and I like it.
I take the start. We have some problem with one Mercedes that touched me, and now we are trying to come back to the lead. We were on the queue. I had 3 cars in front of me. We were slow. I suppose he can brake, but he didn't brake, so he touched me on the back and he put me on the grass. But that's racing.
We had to go with 2 wheels on the grass because the driver didn't see you, but he gave you some. He let you some space, but in the end they don't see you, so then you have to go with 2 wheels on the grass, and that's very risky.
Endurance races is not a sprint race, even when we know that Dubai or Nürburgring or Le Mans or whatever is a kind of sprint race at the new generation of types of race cars. I think it's not decided in the first corner. You have plenty of time to race, to get in your rhythm, and I think this should be the target, and even for my co-drivers, that they get in the rhythm and that they get this race experience with all the other cars, because we plan quite some other races in the future.
Already the leaders have caught up with the back of the field. Now with extra overtaking, racing will get even harder.
There were 4 slower cars in front of us, and I thought, okay, maybe the corner on the outline would be quicker than inline. So I overtook Kaffa outline, and it was really good for us.
At the hour mark, Pierre Kaffa comes into the pit lane. The number 66 Ferrari hasn't been able to hold onto the lead during the first hour, and we can tell that with the LED lights from Spa 05 showing their overall position. So as we have a look at the intermediate results, there's quite a bit of a shake-up in the field. The Porsche number 7 Herbeth Motorsport is leading the race. They started from 4th position, but from 2nd, the Scuderia Praha Ferrari has dropped all the way down to 22nd position overall. So the top 3 is made up with Tom Onslow-Cole in the 30 Ram racing car and Francesco Pastorelli in another Mercedes-Benz, that of V8 Racing. The first A2 class car, it's the Peugeot of Team K Raja. They're ahead of the Seat Leon TDI of Jordans.nl, and Lucas Oruk is in 3rd position in that class in the KPM Racing Volkswagen Golf. The rest of the top 3 in class, in A5, the 31 BMW of Duller Motorsport has already lapped one of its competitors twice within the first hour, and is now only a second behind the fastest SP3 category car, that's the Ginetta of Optimum Motorsport. Endurance racing means being aware of everything around you. There's almost always someone trying to overtake you whilst you're trying to overtake someone else. Now the drivers are clearly showing respect to their competitors, but it still goes wrong once in a while. Adrian Amstutz comes into the pit lane with damage to the number 1 Porsche. He's not the only one with trouble. The Renault Clio Cup car of Team Sally Racing with Martin Sally at the wheel also with damage.
1 hour after the start, our driver has been on the track, and there was in front of him was a collision, and that he don't bump the cars on the track. He went over the grass. the cooling system was full of grass, and so in half a round the temperature of the cooling system went up to 145 degrees. The engine is completely damaged, so we have to end because we don't got another engine, and the drivers are now frustrated and to the hotel with some tears in his eyes.
The rhythm of endurance racing is defined by the car's needs for fuel. With 90 minutes of the race gone, everyone's heading for the petrol station. One of them, the 87 Porsche 991 Cup car, that belongs to GDL Racing. Basha Martini goes into the pits after fuel and turns the car over to Nigel Farmer. Working on the car is the team owner of GDL Racing, Gianluca De Lorenzi. He's a former Formula 3 driver and has also driven in endurance races, including coming second in the 24 Hours of Barcelona.
I prefer stay in the car because it's more relaxed for me. Because stay outside with a lot of people, a lot of mechanic, a lot of driver, a lot of car is big stress. When I'm in the car, it's more better for me because it's relaxed.
Bad news for GDL though, Nigel Farmer hasn't had much luck in his stint.
87 have a crash after 1 hour and a half. Driver mistake go in the barrier.
The incident leaves dirt on the track which needs to be removed, as does the car that's now being towed back to pit lane. Despite the early incidents, drivers and teams seem to regard this as an event that they can enjoy.
I love the Hankook 24H series. It's very good, very old driver, good ambience, yeah. It's beautiful championship.
When you have a look in the paddock, everyone is friendly. It's not that competitive like in WEC, for example. So I really like to be here and to work with my gentleman drivers to bring them up and give them all my knowledge, what I have from the past.
The difference is this year is a kind of family event where you have so many different categories of cars compared to DTM, where you have these 3 big car manufacturers. This is really fighting, and here is more family atmosphere. Even it's a race and everybody wants to be the winner by the end of the day.
We love the time of the race, 12 hour, 24 hour, that's perfect for 3 or 4 drivers. We can drive a lot, and that's the only formula in Europe where you can drive so much.
The Creventic compared to the VLN, I would say the VLN is at the Nürburgring, all 10 races, also the 24 hours at the Nürburgring, so it's actually, you know the track very well, you get a routine there, you know how everything works, and at the Creventic races, every year you get a new track, so it's always different and new tracks, and yeah, so it gets, I guess, harder to adapt, but it's more fun.
I live in China, I race in China. And I was traveling to Europe for business, and so my friends called me there was an available seat, and I joined the race immediately. It's the first time I race here, and I'm thinking to join the rest of the season, even if I live in China.
The cars are slowing down for the pink Code 60 flags caused by an incident for the 72 BMW from Bonk Motorsport. Now clearly it's safer when everyone is only driving at 60 kilometers or 37 miles an hour, but things can still go wrong.
I just go out to the racetrack, and the tire were certainly cold, and at the restart I'm too optimistic, so when I brake, small problem, but the wall was a little bit far, so everything was okay.
3 hours in, it's the Ferrari of Black Pearl back in the lead, despite spending 6 minutes and 45 seconds in the pit lane. Most cars have already had 2 or 3 pit stops. Only the Mark Focus 91, down in 10th, has had a single stop and has therefore spent the least time of the whole 16 off the track. Extra pit stops making the difference in A3-2. A couple of hours ago, the number 100 had an 18-second lead, but in the last 2 hours, they've had 2 pit stops and 2 driver changes, whilst the competition has only had 1. In the Cup 1 class, Lisette Brahms in the Bonk Motorsport 73 has been in twice after an accident with a Clio. That lost her 4 laps. The class leader is Securital Sorg Rennsport, the 71 car, with Ulf Wickop at the wheel. Although this 12-hour race is split into 2 parts with 8 hours tomorrow, teams are still looking for a good finish today in this 4-hour section.
The stint was good. We had a little bit of some problems with the brakes, but now the car is running, and we hope that to finish well.
went pretty good. We're now P2 in SP3 class, so we're hoping to take the win, but we'll see.
Chantal Kroll is taking over the number 9 Mercedes SLS. Her dad looks a bit troubled.
The problem was we had the seat patch of Christian Frankenhout in the car, so my head was stuck in the roll cage, so I couldn't get out of the car, so that was a problem.
Well, we in our class are now on second place, but after the tank stop could be that we are falling back on third place, but tomorrow we will be again in front.
It may look like someone is lagging behind today, but tomorrow their strategy could leapfrog them to be first in class. But clearly some drivers just want to take positions right now.
I received a message in the radio that the car in front of me is the leader of our category, and I see that I can double him. So when we double.
But to make a clean overtake, you need a good car and a skilled driver.
I have a look, 1 or 2 rounds, behind the other car, and have a look who is he bad, and then I overtake him and on the brake, and then I have a round in front.
Tactics are just as important as speed. At 3 hours, Ram Racing was a lap behind the leaders, but Paul White's now back on the lead lap.
We've been making the most of trying to elongate the fuel and double stint tyres so that we reduce the number of driver changes, less time in the pits.
Being able to double stint their Hankook tyres and still drive to the lead of the field clearly shows the quality of the tyres, but you still need to keep your eyes open.
It was bad luck. We had an accident by overtaking a slower car. He hit us or we hit him, and the rear left suspension was completely damaged.
Bad luck for Tony Hughes too. At the start of the race, his Ginetta needed a new solenoid, and at the end of the first day, his car is in trouble again.
And I was getting rumble in all the gears, and basically the rear diff completely exploded. And I think it's run into the gearbox as well, so we've got a bit of a problem with the gearbox because that seems to have lost its oil as well. So I think we're having a pretty bad day so far.
And the big debate is when to stop for fuel. At the end of today, or wait till tomorrow.
We start for the last 25 minutes and we put fuel for tomorrow, and we try to do our best for have a good position for tomorrow.
The Black Pearl Ferrari seems to have lost its lead.
One of my gentleman co-drivers had a small spin. There was to avoid the crash. He decided to spin the car, which was the right decision for all of us.
So at the checkered flag for the first day, it's not Black Pearl who has the lead, but the number 30 Mercedes of Ram Racing. But why is the Hankook 12 Hours of Mugello split into 2 parts?
The cars can't drive 12 hours here at Mugello circuit due to noise regulations, so we have to stop earlier, and that's why we have split the race in 2. The cars, they went in Park Vermeer on the straight. This is because the race is not finished yet, so we have still another 8 hours to go, and for that the hours need to maintain in the same condition as they are now.
So at the end of the first day and 4 hours of the motor race is completed, the 7 Porsche of Herbeth Motorsport has come up from 4th and a lap behind to just 16 seconds away from the lead. Top 5, all A6 Pro cars, not too much between them. At 6, it's the first Porsche from the 997 class, and they're less than a lap away from the Scuderia Praha Ferrari. Top 5, or maybe even better, could be on the cards. The top 4 in the 997 class are all pretty close. The Big Mover, Classic and Motors in position 5. Just an hour ago, they were in 9th in class. We have lost one of the Porsches, the 87 GDL racing car, unrepairable after the accident we saw earlier. Here's the top 3 in all the classes. The cars are going into Park Vermeer on the main straight as we prepare for tomorrow's part 2 of the Hankook 12 Hours of Mugello.
The car is now standing on the main straight, whereas the race stopped for the overnight, and there's like a Park Vermeer function, so nobody is allowed to come with the car, and that's for everybody the same.
there is a way around the rules in the fact that if you're working on the car, during the parc fermé time, you get a 10 lap penalty, which in our case is it's a sort of over 20-minute penalty. And I think they're thinking, well, if this takes us over 20 minutes to fix, the diff and maybe put a new gearbox in as well, then that's going to take us over 20 minutes. So we might as well have the 20-minute penalty instead of a 1.5 hour penalty. So.
A few teams did opt for the 10-lap penalty and took their car out of parc fermé. Now that clearly ruins the chance to win their class, but it does allow them to race tomorrow and still gather championship points.
We just had the first 4 hours of the race and everybody is looking forward to the other 8 hours.
It's the second day of the Hankook 12H ITALY-MUGELLO presented by Creventic, an official FIA Endurance Series race. An event like this, of course, could never exist without sponsors.
Our tire supplier and title sponsor is Hankook. They are here at the paddock and they have supplied all tires to the teams.
I like the tires, they are very good. Very good for our car. It's very safe on the front axle. But normally we drive on this car Michelin tires. And with Michelin tires we are not so safe on the front axle. So these tires are on the front axle are better.
I like the Hankook tires, they are really consistent. So hope we can do good stints today without any puncture.
Our second biggest sponsor is BRM. They are a watch manufacturer. They sponsor all watches for the series winners.
We are very proud to be a partner of the 24-hour series. It's a very nice race, a lot of cars. And as we are a partner of the 24-hour series, we develop also a special watch with a 24 hours movement.
Besides that, we have sponsors as Tractive, Show Tracks, Spa 05, Speedcom, who was at the paddock as well, Stand 21, Racing Sportiva, and Jordans.nl. So we have a lot of sponsors here.
The teams are back on the grid. What do they expect from today?
This is sport, so nobody can tell in front of the race or before the race how it will be in the finish line. So everybody needs a little bit of luck, and I think that maybe we can do it, but it's hard.
We've got the Audis behind us that are very close, so we have to keep an eye on everything. So no, this competition's pretty close. So yeah, it's pretty good.
My co-drivers, it's the first race ever, and so far I'm really proud of them, and the goal is to make no mistakes.
I expect the race to be very busy as it was yesterday. We have a lot of teams still in the race. Only 2 teams has dropped out, and I'm looking forward for another 8 hours.
Half 9 on Saturday morning, the remaining cars are warming up for the restart. Yesterday's finishing order per class forms the start grid for today. Any time difference in minutes and seconds is lost, but laps difference remain.
Got another beautiful morning, so it should be good this morning.
A slow-moving line of cars getting ready for the restart. It's a nervous moment. It used to be endurance racing had a slow build-up, and whoever got to the first corner first didn't really matter. Now endurance racing is a 12 or 24 hour long sprint race split up with pit stop and driver changes. It's all about concentration and speed right the way through the race. And don't forget, you can't pass before the start line.
Basically, we should be able to control the speed before the line. The other cars passed us before the line, which isn't allowed, but they weren't penalised. So.
The problem is I overtook the Mercedes in front of the start and finish line, and so we get a penalty of 10 seconds. But I think it doesn't matter at the moment.
As the field goes by, the cars that were taken out of parc fermé and serviced overnight are allowed to join the race at the back of the pack.
Car feels good, fuel consumption's been good, and tyres are excellent, so we're feeling very strong.
Turn 3 in the car collection, Mercedes-Benz spins, but rejoins and continues the race. After the usual shake-up at the restart, it's Porsche versus Ferrari.
Mugello is nice, the race is nice, Cavendish make a good job, yes.
At the front, all of the A6 Pro Class cars are close together, either defending a position or trying to gain one. This is happening right throughout the field. PCR Sport Team, Seat Leon Cup number 100, right in the action.
We are trying to fight for the second position of our class. We are now, I think, 33 overall. We want to finish in the top 30. That's our target. But first finish, then top 30 and fight for the podium in our class.
The race is back up to speed, and Gonzalo de Andres with his aptly numbered Peugeot 208 comes into the pits. Is this a clever tactic to change tyres early on in the second part of the race? No, there's damage not just to the tyre but also to the wheel rim. The Altran team changes the wheel quickly and gives the car some extra service.
My first stint today was very good. We did several very good laps, and I think now we have a good. It's good for us to be in front now.
Robert Renard in the 7 car is leading, but others have problems at the start of Saturday. The American 20 Porsche has to pit. On the other side of the track, the 136 BMW from Kurt Oyser Racing has troubles, although it can continue without coming to the pit lane. No such luck for the MRS GT Racing team though. They have to work for the best part of an hour to get Charles Espinlab back on track. Clearly some teams started Saturday without full fuel tanks. Second in the race, the Black Pearl Ferrari is coming in less than 15 minutes after the green. In the SP2 class, the leader, the 92 Mark Focus, is in for fuel as well and generating an ample volume of smoke. The number 4 Ferrari up one position. You can see that from the Spa 05 LED numbers, and Pierre Caffer is back in the race. Christian Puth in the Red Camel Jordans.NL Seat gives ample space for the faster Dynamic Motorsports Porsche, but in the corner it all goes wrong.
A little accident, but the yellow car, the race start another driver. It's okay.
Endurance racing is truly a team sport, with mechanics and engineers playing just as big a part as the drivers. In a sprint race, a pit stop can ruin your race. But in endurance racing, a tactical pit stop or one to fix a problem can save your race and put you on the podium. That's as long as your team has a quick and able crew of mechanics, of course, something that we see all through the pit lane here in the Hankook 12H of Mugello. Another Code 60 in the beautiful if slightly hazy Tuscan hills of Italy. Pierre Caffer already into the pit lane.
It was something weird with the gearbox changes, and we tried to solve it. Now we found the failure. It's something related to the loom. We try to fix it and then we go out again. So it's bad luck. We can nothing do against it, but I think we made a great show until that moment.
We have very good luck with the Code 60. Code 60 came out exactly at the same moment when we go into the pit, and so we have one lap in front now.
A real stroke of good fortune. You can't plan this. However, everyone's not as lucky. It's bad luck for Ram Racing. The 7 car did their fueling, tyre and driver change under a Code 60. But when they bring their Mercedes in to copy the move, the Code 60 is lifted and we're back to green.
Our plan really is just to be dynamic now, look to see what the other teams do and just play our cards very close and just make the most of the time on track.
So as Adam Christodoulou rejoins the field in the Ram Racing Mercedes, he's only just ahead of the 997 of HB Racing Team Herberth. Halfway through the race, the 67 GDL Mercedes and the 4 Ferrari of Scuderia Praha are off the lead lap, but with 6 hours to go, it's still possible to catch up. In the Cup 1 class, the 71 Securitel Sorg Rennsport and the 68 Pricon Racing team are switching positions. The 73 Bonk Motorsport puts a couple of laps between them and the 70. However, the 72 car lagging back the 20 laps it lost yesterday. The A5 class hasn't really changed since the 4-hour mark yesterday. The Duller Motorsport 31 has a 2-lap lead over the 75 Hofer Cooper racing car. That team has an 8-lap lead over the 80 BMW of RTR Projects, who is in third. Endurance racing is so much more than just reeling off the laps. With a huge field in the Hankook 12H of Mugello by Cavendish, you're handling traffic all the time.
The race is extremely tough because there are a lot of cars, a number of overtaking for us and from us, so it's very complicated, very difficult to keep concentration, very difficult to have a good pace, but it's very fun.
It's one of the best forms of racing you can do, and you've got to have your wits about you because of all the other cars on the circuit. 73 cars started the race. You know, it's a lot. You know, and you've got slower cars. Well, I think we qualified 20 something. So you can imagine you catch up 2/3 of them, and a third of them are overtaking you. So yeah, it makes it quite exciting, really.
I don't know. The track is not very large, but it's easy to navigate in between the car. That's funny, very funny.
Some of them, they don't know what's going on behind them, and this is very dangerous because when you're passing them different speed, around 80, 100 k's more, it's really dangerous. You don't know what they're going to do.
Variety is what makes watching endurance racing so interesting. In spec racing, the cars being identical soon end up as a train. But in multi-class racing, even identical cars soon get separated by traffic from other classes. The Audi of Red Camel Jordan.NL, Henk Tyson at the helm, seems to have lost power. The 66 Black Pearl Ferrari has led the race, Steve Parrow now in 10th position. The Mercedes 30 and the 7 Porsche still battling for the lead.
Number 30 Mercedes was in front, and we were the whole stint. We were exactly behind this car. If the code 60 came out, we had the chance to overtake him.
And that opportunity came soon enough. Another code 60, just as Robert Renard had gone in for fuel, and to hand over the seats to Daniel Alleman.
I think there was a problem on the track. When the code 60 came out, everybody had to slow down and drive with 60 kilometers per hour. And so we had a big advantage.
And would you believe it, as Adam Christodoulou has to come in for his fuel stop, the green flags go out again.
Basically, the number 7 Porsche was able to pit under the code 60 twice for fuel, so we lost all the advantage we had.
Meantime, the 135 Red Camel Jordan.NL Seat is back on track with Klaus Kresnik at the wheel.
Just struck us in a few minutes. First the Seat with some problems, and now the Audi is coming in. It was just a small accident. They replaced some suspension parts, and they should be able to go on now.
Kurt Euser has taken over the number 160 Lotus Evora GT4. He's comfortably leading the SP3 class.
Yeah, till now we have no problems apart from get hit by some Mercedes. The car is running fine, and we have the speed, we have the consistency, the consuming of the petrol is good, so keep our fingers crossed that thing stays alive.
But as you never know what might happen, it's almost impossible to plan tactics.
In the race, it's you never know, it's changing all the time with this 60 limit. That changed the strategy completely, and we need to redefine the strategy every 1 hour and a half.
8 hours gone, and the 7 and the 30 have swapped again and now have a lap between them. Hofer Racing number 9 up from 8th to 3rd position. In 4th, Lorient Racing with a 997 Cup car. In SP3, Kurt Euser Racing has gone from just 24 seconds in the lead 2 hours ago to 3 laps now. Not good news for Vantage Racing. 2 hours ago they were fighting for 3rd in class, but they've been into the pits too many times. Most of SP3 have had 3 pit stops, but the Aston Martin Vantage has already had 5. In the pit lane, numerous reminders for driver about their ID switches.
Every driver have a number, the first driver, second driver, third driver, and you have a little switcher on the dashboard, and you have to switch it. So the first driver have to switch it on number 1, the second driver of number 2, that the race control always knows who driver is on the car. It may be possible to get out of the race if the wrong driver with the wrong ID is on the start.
Huub Del Noj is now in the SP3 leader, but is in the gravel. Doesn't look like he's going to get out of this quickly, and that will cost the Lotus Evora its lead in class. Flick Hay in the Optimum Motorsport 163 Ginetta is the beneficiary.
We have problem with the water. The water is very hot, and it's necessary to stop. And we have problem with the direction. That's very big problem, but it's impossible to have the good race.
As we approach the end of the Hankook 12 Hours of Mugello, the thoughts of those who are entered in all 6 events of the Hankook 24 Hours series by Creventic are on championship points. Can they improve their position? Fuel stops could be crucial at this time in the race.
We want to come in when there's not so many cars. So if we've got another lap in the car and that fuel bay is full, we'll do another lap. So we know we've got our reserve, so we know we've got another full lap in the car, and then hopefully the next lap. But otherwise, then you're stuck. It could be worse the next time round, but you just got to hope for the best. There is a bit of luck in this fuel stop. Yeah, definitely.
I was also in Dubai, now in Mugello, 2 really different races but with the same spirit. I really enjoyed this race because there were a lot of fight, maybe a little bit more than in Dubai. So for the person who are looking the race, it was very interesting.
I take my time and go in front of the pit wall to see what's going on there. And for me, the impression was that the level is extremely high and especially extremely fair. We had no hard accidents, we have no unfair attacks, whatever. Everything is really smooth and it's a really nice atmosphere to be in here.
The atmosphere is very nice, you know, everybody is like a little bit helping each other. They are fighting on the racetrack, but out of the racetrack the atmosphere is very nice.
The last 2 hours are about to start. Let's take a look at the overall standings and compare it with 2 hours ago. No change really in the top 3 overall. In the 997 class, the 17 and 63 have changed positions but have lost ground to the top 3. What was a 1-lap difference is now 4 laps. The class results are a little more confusing. The amount of laps in the race calculated from the overall leader, of course, and if he gets between a couple of cars that are battling in a class, it looks like there's more distance between them than there actually is. In SP2, Mark Cars Australia holding on to 1st and 3rd in class, with the LMS Engineering Audi TT-RS in 2nd place. In A6 AM, it was Car Collection Motorsport leading, but they spent 17 minutes in the pit lane and have fallen 7 laps behind the new leader, Hofer Racing.
I was behind the Porsche, and I'm very fast, and too fast, and impossible to stay on the track. Yes, and I go to the beach. I stay to the beach.
Smoke from the 150GC automobile as it's towed away. Mike Smith in the 70 BMW creating his own smoke screen by braking hard to avoid going off the track. Throughout the field, drivers are searching for a way to get an extra championship point or 2. At the front, it seems that Ram Racing hopes to take over the lead are slipping away.
I think we are leading the race by one lap. Now it's only 20 minutes to go, and I hope we can win the race.
We can't catch them, they're literally behind us. We have a whole lap between us now. We're in P2 now, and unless the leader has a problem, we're basically conserving fuel and tyres and just heading for a finish.
Remember, in the Hankook 24-hour series endurance races, it's not just about overall winners. People fighting for their place in class is more important to them than an overall result. This goes particularly for the Cup 1 class at the 68 BMW of Pricon Racing, currently 3rd.
We're on the 3rd position, but maybe we hope that we can switch 1 position off, so that we're going on 2nd place, but we're not sure if one team need to fuel. We will see.
Into the final stint, and everyone racing with respect for their competitors. Things can still go wrong though, as Malcolm Neal found out in the 997 GDL Racing Porsche.
Disaster. Before the car have one crash, repairing, and now broken the front radiator. It's possible after the crash broken the part for preserve the radiator, and it's possible one dirty broken the radiator.
The leader in the SP2 class, the number 92 Mark Focus, also hitting problems in the closing stages of the race.
The race so far has been was very good until we had a failure, unfortunately. We were leading the class by over 2 laps, and then we had a problem with the front suspension, and now we have a problem with the engine. So we're happy the car did well, and I'm happy that our other car is leading the class, but I think we won't finish with this car now, which is a great shame.
It's the last couple of laps in the Tuscany hillside for this Creventic Series event. Cor Oyser standing in the pit lane. His Lotus Evora GT4 appears to be in working order again.
because we don't have podium chance anymore, and the driver behind us is seven laps behind. So we're just taking it easy now, waiting for the last 5 minutes, and then we go out again because we won't lose any positions. So that's why.
A great outing for Hofer Racing Team with their two identical cars, one running as an A6 Pro, one as an A6 AM. This close to the finish, it looks like both the cars will be on the podium.
Our opponents got some trouble with their car, and that was our lucky chance to pass them, and then we finished first.
HB Racing Team Herbert with their Porsche 997 GT3R slowing down just a bit to drive past the team on their pit wall. After 12 hours, 342 laps, car number 7 from the A6 Pro class is passing the finishing line and claiming the victory at Mugello.
During the race, what stands out was the atmosphere. All the people were helping each other, everybody was happy, and if there were problems, they were happy to help each other. And well, I heard a lot of great words about the race.
The pit lane in front of the podium is filled with fans and team members cheering on the prize winners. Manfred Sandbichter, Motorsport Director of Hankook Europe, and Charles Meistelman of BRM Chronographs are presenting the awards to the overall and the class winners. So let's confirm the results in the Hankook 12 Hours of Mugello for 2015. The Mark Focus was the highest ranking SP2, 14th position overall. Bas Coten Racing just 1 lap ahead in 13th position in the A3T class. The A6 AM Hofer car number 10, 8th overall. And the highest ranking non-A6 Pro car is the 997 class number 17 of Ruffier Racing, who was 6th overall in a Porsche 991 Cup. The overall winners, Hofer Racing, Ram Racing and Herbert Motorsport, 3rd, 2nd and 1st respectively. In the classes, the A6 Pro mirrored the overall result, with HB Racing Team Herbert's Porsche taking the victory on 342 laps. Just under 2 minutes ahead of the Mercedes-Benz of Ram Racing in 2nd, and another Mercedes-Benz for Hofer Racing, the number 9 car, in 3rd position. In A6 AM, Hofer Racing on the podium again, but this time on the top step with their Mercedes-Benz, and they were backed up by 2 more Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG GT3s, both from the Car Collection Motorsport stable. In the 997 Cup class for Porsche 991 and 997 Cup cars, Ruffier Racing on 329 laps beat the 2nd place Porsche of Lorient Racing by a full lap, and it was 5 laps further back for 3rd position, the 56 Classica Motors by RMS. In SP2, Mark Cars Australia took a 1 and 3 on the podium. In between them, the 45 Car Collection Motorsport Porsche 997 Cup car. In SP3, mainly for GT4 cars, it was Ginetta 1 and 2, the G55 of Optimum Motorsport winning it by 3 laps from Nova Race in 2nd place, and Aston Martin in 3rd for Speedworks, making it an all-British podium as far as the manufacturers were concerned. A5 was for petrol touring cars up to 3.5 litres. Welcome back to Creventic Endurance Racing for the very talented Duller Motorsport outfit. 282 laps was enough to win for their number 31 BMW M3 E46, ahead of Hofer Cooper Racing by a full lap in their E46 M3 Coupe, with an E46 GTR making it an all BMW podium with RTR Projects in 3rd position. A3T for petrol touring cars, turbo engines up to 2 litre. Seat Leons took all 3 positions, the Leon Cup racer of NKPP Racing winning it, ahead of the Super Copa version of Memak Ogilvy Dual Racing in 2nd, and another Seat Leon Cup racer, the latest version of those cars, for PCR Sport in 3rd position. The Cup 1 class for BMW M235i Racing Cup cars was a win for Bonk Motorsport and the 73 car. Just a lap ahead of Securital Sorg Rensport 2, the 71 car. They had had a race-long battle and the position swapping throughout the 12 hours. Pricon Racing in 3rd position, the 68 car, just 3 laps away from 2nd place. Class A2 is for petrol touring cars normally aspirated 1600 to 2 litres and turbos up to 1650. Congratulations to the Peugeot RCZ of Team K Reijer, Jakob Christensen on the driving roster there. 302 laps That was 4 laps ahead of KPM Racing, their second team, with the Volkswagen Golf in second place, and Team Sally Racing brought the Renault Clio home in third position. After the series' first event of 2015 in Dubai Desert and an exciting weekend in the Tuscan Hills at this wonderful circuit of Mugello, we're already looking forward to the third endurance race in the Hankook 12H series. It's in the Dutch Dunes, it's the 12 Hours of Zandvoort. Be trackside the 29th and 30th of May 2015 or watch it here on Motors TV. I'm John Hindhoff. Join me again soon for more endurance racing. This programme is brought to you by Hankook Tyres, BRM Watches, Radio Show Limited, the DNRT and Motors TV. For more information, check 24hseries.com.